Hey everyone, and welcome back to Diablo Flamenco. In this video we're going to discuss guitar capos, or as we say in Flamenco, cejillas, and I'm going to give you my top 5 reasons on useful ways to use the cejilla, and stay tuned to the end of the video where I will tell you how to get capos just like these. So let's get started. Before we begin, I would like to discuss what a capo actually is for those of you who have never used one before in the past. So a capo is this device here. I am using a traditional old school capo, but there's many different types of capos out there. The word capo comes from the Italian word capo, which means head, and that's usually because we put it near the headstock. But in flamenco and Spanish guitar, we call them cejillas. The word ceja is the Spanish word for eyebrow, and illa is referring to something that is small. So the literal translation of this tool is the little eyebrow. And we use it for many different reasons. So my number one reason on why this is useful is to change the pitch and give it a brighter tone on the guitar. So for example, if I just play this chord here, and I have no capo on, we get kind of this deep sound. And I wouldn't say a guitar is super deep in pitch compared to a lot of other instruments, but if I take the capo and I put it on the guitar, let's say I put it on the 3rd fret, for example, and tighten it, that same chord, if I use the same fingerings on the same frets, I now get a chord that sounds like this. And you can hear how much brighter the tone is, and if I'm playing, I get this brighter sound compared to if I just had no capo at all. So it makes your music much more interesting. It also will give you that nice flamenco tone that you're looking for. The next reason why I think capos are so useful is that if you are a flamenco guitarist, you will be using the cejilla to accompany cante and the singers. So let's say a singer wants to play por medio, so that's the key for bulería, tango, seguiría, all these other paddles that go between an A and the B flat. You can hear that this, without a capo, again, is pretty low in pitch, and you would have to sing fairly deep to play in this key. So for example, a singer might say, pon la cejilla a 3 por medio. So they're basically saying, put the cejilla on the 3rd fret, use these same exact keys, you don't change anything in the left hand, and now you're going to get a key that is going to fit the singer's voice much more easily. So now those same chords now sound like this. So where are some common cejilla placements on the guitar? Well, if you play solo guitar, you can literally put the capo anywhere. However, if you play for cante, I haven't seen many opportunities that go past 7. A lot of female singers will go up to the 7th fret, but I would say common for singers is 4, 5, maybe 6 for a lot of the females and some males that have a higher voice. So we are using this tool to accompany the singer in an easier way, and we are not changing anything in the left hand or right hand. All that changes is the placement of the cejilla. My next reason why capos are useful is as you put the capo on, the guitar actually becomes a little bit easier to play. And the reason why, it has to do with the tension of the strings as we go down the neck. So the further down you put the capo, the action of the strings is actually a little bit lower, and it is easier to play. So there's a benefit to the left hand here. So play around with the capo and see which positions you like, or which sounds you like too. Because you might like the capo on 3rd fret like I have now, or you might like the 1st fret. All these different positions have different feelings besides just the tonal qualities behind it. So play around with them and see what you like. The 4th reason why I think capos are so useful is that it also adds some benefit to your daily exercise and technique workouts. So let's say I have no capo. I'm going to take my capo off for a second. And let's say I have a chromatic scale exercise on the open strings in the first 4 frets. Let's say we have this exercise. Now, if you're playing this a lot and every day, you'll notice it's not a very interesting exercise. It's actually quite boring when it comes to the musicality. So what you could do is add a capo. Let's say I put the capo on the 2nd fret this time. Now, that same exercise, again, I'm not going to change anything in the left or right hand. It's a little bit higher, it sounds a little more interesting. So if you ever just get tired of your normal exercises, you can put a capo on, and all of a sudden you have a new sound, what sounds like a new exercise, but really it isn't. So play around with this idea as well. And also, another added bonus to this is as you put the capo further down, the frets get closer together, which means that your exercises will be a little bit easier. And I usually tell my students, when you have a new exercise, try it with a capo first. So let's say we have a pretty difficult exercise that has a lot of stretching, or we're just not used to it yet. Let's say I put it on the 5th fret now. So now that same chromatic exercise sounds like this, but you see that as we go further down the neck of the guitar, the frets become closer together, which means, again, easier to play. So if you have this exercise and it's your first time doing it, try the capo first. As it gets comfortable and you can do the exercise, take the capo, move it back 1 fret, do it again. As that gets comfortable, move it back 1 more time. Eventually you'll be playing all these exercises with the open strings without a capo, and you have slowly developed your left hand abilities to hold all of these shapes and notes in a more progressive way. And finally, my last reason why capos can be so useful, and it was actually mentioned in the last tip as well, is it makes stretching on the guitar a little bit easier as well. So let me give you an example. If you play either classical or flamenco guitar, you'll run into some really bizarre stretches in the left hand that you will probably not see in any other genre of guitar music. So an example that I ran into was I was playing a classical guitar piece a while ago, and I had this stretch where I had to grab the 3rd fret on the 6th string and the 7th fret on the high E to get this. And when I was a new guitarist, this would have been very, very difficult for me. I can do it now because I've developed my left hand, but if you are a new guitarist, this would be very difficult and probably painful, as you are not developing your left hand quite as well yet. So what can you do to overcome this? Well, let's put a capo on. Let's say I want to put a capo on 4th fret this time, just for fun. And I'll tighten my capo on, and now that stretch is smaller than it was in the open position. So again, you can use the capo as a technical workout, being able to stretch progressively, not all at once. Again, once you get the stretch down here, take the capo, move it back, play the piece again. Eventually you're playing the piece without a cejilla, and your left hand has been developed to stretch this way. So, while the capo can be a musical tool, changing the key for singers and making the guitar sound brighter, like I mentioned, it's also great for exercising and technical abilities. So, many different uses for the capo. These are just a few of them, and I hope you see the benefits of using a capo, and I hope you go out and get a capo of your own. Before we end this video, I would like to do a shout out to a buddy of mine who makes capos online, and I am going to put a link to his shop down below. I am not affiliated with him, I will not get paid for this, but I really like his capos, and I've gotten some questions before in the past on where have I gotten my cejillas from. So, my buddy JP over at Madcowoodcraft, he has a shop on Etsy where I get mine. He's also on Amazon and eBay as well. He has made me these 2 capos before, and I'm going to talk about his shop very quickly and tell you how to get these. So what's great with JP is these are customizable capos if you go on Etsy. So what you can do is you'll see all of his different options for shapes and types and everything else, pegs, inlays, and you can collaborate with him and say, hey, I like this shape, can we do this style of peg? and I like inlay number 4, for example. He has pictures to show the different ones, and he will send you pictures all throughout the process and see if you like it. And then he'll make you this capo. This is the first one that I bought, is this one. This is the capo I use most of the time, this black and red one. And I sent him a link that I liked this shape. I saw another capo on a site that had this shape. I sent that to him, said, hey, I like this shape, and I like this design with the red and the black. Can we do this? And then here's the inlay I like, and I just want this simple black peg here. And he said, oh, perfect, we can totally do that. And he sent me this very quickly, probably a week later, and it's excellent. And I've used this capo for over a year now, and it's still held up. It hasn't broken anywhere. It still turns very well, holds its tune. So I am a big fan of JP's capos. Recently, JP sent me this new one here that we collaborated on, and we are calling this model the Diablo, based on the channel. So it's a ebony style capo, very traditional to use ebony or a very hard wood, with this inlay, this black and white one, and this interesting peg here with this curved design and the button on the top. So I will again put a link down below to JP's site, and if you want a capo just like this one, reach out to him and say, hey, I would like a Diablo, and he'll make you a capo just like this. Or go ahead and create your own. He has many different options. All of them are fantastic, and JP is excellent to work with, very nice guy, and he will make you a very nice capo. And that's all I'll give you for this video. I hope you enjoyed learning about capos and cejillas and the uses behind them. And I hope that you go out and buy one for yourself and start experimenting with them and having some fun. And I will see you in the next class. Hasta luego.